I think that a lot of fight fans don't care for the ground and lounge. Okay. I don't want to call it ground and pound because they ground and lounge. That's I'm coining a new, maybe someone said it before, I've never heard it, but
That's a
ground and
good one.
lounge, it needs to be penalized or at least not rewarded. Um, because I've seen plenty of fights where a guy is doing the striking, winning the fight, he gets taken down out of a 5 minute round. They're on the ground for 3 minutes. The 2 minutes he was up, he got peppered, and then they give it to the guy who took him down and didn't really do anything. Um, it, to me, we need to at least emulate real world fight experience. And if you just hold me on the ground in a bar for 3 minutes and aren't putting me to sleep and you're not hitting me, you've got to get up sometime. And I'm going to hit you with a goddamn beer bottle when you do. So you better be putting me to sleep or pounding me. You better break my will. You better put me to sleep. So this idea of ground and lounge, scoring and winning the rounds and calling people champions, it's not what we want to see as fans. Um, most of us. And listen, my background is in wrestling. This is not me. Yes, I know I love boxing, and we talk boxing on here all the time. But listen, my background's in wrestling, but use it to do something. This idea of taking people down and you're winning because you controlled him on the ground, which means you held him where he couldn't get up, but did no real damage. I think the refs should give guy 45 seconds. If you haven't hit him hard, if you're not about to choke him out in 45 seconds to a minute, I don't want to see 3 minutes of that. I just don't want to see 3 minutes of a guy laying on another guy, Miguel. Um, tell me I'm an unsophisticated boxing fan and I should learn more about UFC and appreciate that so that I can at least do my homework and begin to understand it, or tell me some of that ground and lounge stuff is getting ridiculous.
No, you definitely have a point, and that more than that, you have a point is that that's been a line of conversation, a line of thought among more casual fans of this sport since the very beginning. So yeah, it's two men laying on each other, butt in the air, whatever you want to, whatever you want to. So it is a factor, whether you like it or not. Especially like for me, that I have a pretty good understanding of what the ground game is. There is a good chance there that you're right in certain cases that guys are playing it so safe that it's stale. But I'm just as a purist against the referee getting involved. It's similar to like if you have a football referee call timeout and call Bill Belichick over and go, look, man, you're gonna have to pass the freaking ball. This running the ball is boring. You
Right.
know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. Fair. Fair.
You know what I
But
mean?
can we? But okay. If we don't have the ref get involved, can we at least let guys know that if you're not doing anything, you're not scoring? And if you
Yeah, the
got hit
judges.
10 times and only hit him twice, and then you're on the ground for 3 minutes, you still lose the damn round.
It's still then it falls to the judges, and yeah, I would urge more sophistication among the judges. There are certain states, I believe Kansas is one of them, where they will tell you on the loudspeaker what the results of the round you just watched were.
Okay.
And I think
Okay.
that dispels the first of all, I think that's an outstanding move for the fans as well, because if you have a different opinion, you're talking about it there and you're living the moment. But you also know, you can have a different opinion, but you can discuss that later. Now your guy is behind or not. I think that applies to the corner. Hey, you won that round. What if your corner man, didn't have a good angle on it and he's off?
Right.
You think you won that round, or when he tells you, we got to do something, and you've been up on certain things. Which
Yeah.
was the fight last week that we thought the
Oh,
the judge.
the boxing one with
Yeah.
yeah, gosh darn it.
Oh, with
He was fighting Ramos and
yeah, with
Erickson Lubin.
Jefferson Emerson.
Erickson
Oh, but
Lubin.
yeah,
Erickson Lubin. Erickson Lubin.
Erickson.
Yep,
There we
yep.
go.
And Buddy was watching that had followed my bet on that. And Erickson Lubin was a plus 1,100 underdog at the end of the fight before they announced that he was the winner. So
Yeah, so and that's one of the reasons the sport books may have an effect on that because they like to take bets that way. And telling the judges scores as they go along may prevent some of that, but I don't think that the sport book should make that call. I think
right,
Ramos
right.
should have would have very much liked to know that this fight was a hell of a lot closer than he thought.
Because
He
he
might.
backed off. He backed off. No, they call that open scoring, I believe, is what that's called, open scoring. And they do that besides Kansas. I know some other places they've done it as well. From a competitive standpoint, I think I would like it because if a guy knows he's down or it's tied, let's say UFC 5 rounds, it's tied 2-2. That final round matters. He's not going to coast because he thinks he's up 3-1 and maybe lose that fight. Or, the guy who's behind knows he has to get a knockout. Well, maybe I don't need a knockout. I don't want to go for it. Maybe I can still, steal one on the scorecards. I'd rather the guy know, listen, the only way you win this fight is a knock. Can you imagine the haymakers that we would see being thrown if a guy knows you cannot win this fight except with a knockout? 100% guaranteed. The judges have already told you. The
I could see
action
it
that we would
complicating
see,
things.
wow.
I could see it complicating things, but I think if you take out like X factors, like the judges are cowards. They don't want to be, have the public being like, "Hey, what are you doing, knucklehead?" You know what I mean? But that's some of
Right,
that's are they going to have a bodyguard? Now, what
right.
if it's a cornerman that comes over and approaches the judge and says, "You're nuts," whatever it is? There, that has to be controlled. It cannot fall into chaos. It's
Right.
just information, and the judges, I don't know, because they're present there. I think they try to keep a low profile, and it could be almost dangerous for them if they really don't know what they're doing.
I
But
hadn't really
that's the
thought
thing that
about that. You're right. You're
that's
right.
the
The
thing that the
scrutiny.
judges are protected from and are not exposed to now. They can give you a result of gross incompetence and suffer. I'm not saying anybody should be hurt or anything like that, but to hear about it, you
Right.
should be forced to listen to the opinion of the masses when you're way off. And we know these judges can be way off too. So it starts with a whole adjustment of the judges, but I do like that system, and I do like the idea of them giving you the scores as you go along. It just takes a mystery out of it. And by mystery, mystery could be alluring and stuff. No, but I think it's something that's good to know as you fight
Right.
along. It will
Right.
definitely help the corners guide their fighter better.
Well, listen, a football team knows if they're losing in the fourth quarter,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and go on down the sports. You know what the score is on almost any given sport, and you play accordingly, whether it's something as, gentile as golf. You still have to become more aggressive and go for that shot over the trees instead of around if you're down 2 strokes on the 18th hole or whatnot. So I think that the drama that provides would help not only with some of us more hardcore fans, but with casual fans to know it would be easier for them to watch and follow and learn the sport if they can
Yeah.
see, quote unquote, a scoreboard, you know.
Yeah.
So,
For
but
sure.
you bring up a good point. Get Adelaide Bird on the sideline making some horrible round by round calls and watch the beers start flying at her from the crowd or something. Now we've got a security problem.
Yeah. And
So
here's that's why it starts with, and few people will say this in boxing, although there is a big undercurrent of it too, is Adelaide Bird should never have been a judge ever in the first place, ever in any sport. So it starts with having judges that actually know and have some respect.